This is an unknown topic for many, kind of weird for others, and also for those of us who have experimented with this. We know how powerful it is and how impactful it is, and that is what's called semen retention. It's a close cousin of the basically the practice of NoFap, or the NoFap movement, but it's just slightly different in its emphasis. The emphasis is more so on retaining the vital energy, so to speak, in the semen itself, and keeping that sort of circulating and flowing through the body for the different benefits to physical energy, mental clarity, emotional stability, and things like that it provides. And I can say in my experience that all of that is true. For a little bit of background, I first started on the journey of NoFap and semen retention about 4 years ago. It kind of came on my radar somewhat subconsciously for a while that masturbation and these kind of things excessively is not good, because it gives you obviously a short-term high and stimulation, but then after you release, you often feel, if you pay attention to it, you often feel a bit depleted and low on energy. And of course, if you do that excessively, repeat that excessively, it does seem to have some detrimental effects on basically your quality of life, which is for most people not what we want. So I started noticing that, and then I started getting more explicitly interested through being inspired by other people and reading things online and watching videos about the idea of NoFap. Maybe I should focus more intently on this. Maybe it's worthwhile. So that started a journey of doing my best with that, getting like a week mastered, 2 weeks, a month, etc. I actually got to a point where through the support of an online, I think it was a WhatsApp group, I actually got to over a year without ejaculating through masturbation. Some people may think this is weird. Why am I talking about this? But when you actually try this, the reasons become self-evident in the way that you feel. So that's why I feel so moved to talk about this right now. So I actually got to that point, and I was pretty stable, you could say, in the habit of, when I felt the urge to go do X, Y, and Z, look up things on the internet, I was able to basically divert my attention. I sort of mastered that sort of redirection of myself, and had quite a lot of success. But as life goes on, temptations come back. You get little questions in your mind. What if I started dabbling again, of course, and these kinds of things. So that actually led me back into an occasional masturbation habit, admittedly. This was a couple years ago now. So I basically was not back to square one, but sort of having that internal conflict come back again of how healthy is this? How often should I stimulate myself and release, if at all? These sorts of questions, which are uncomfortable, and at first you don't like thinking about them. But if I'm honest with myself, and if a lot of people are honest with themselves, this gets to sort of the heart of the matter. It's how you engage with sort of your compulsions, your urges, your desires, and how much you're able to sort of see the bigger picture and transcend some of these little short-term highs and these sorts of things. But anyway, so I started dabbling again, and that period has lasted a couple years up to this point now. So nowadays, I rarely release, so to speak. I'd consider myself someone who does his best to practice semen retention, because it does have such powerful benefits. But you can't just take, at the same time though, you can't just take other people's word for it entirely. You have to try these things yourself. that's where the real progress is made. You can hear people all day talking about how they had transformations in their energy. They became stronger. They were able to work out way harder in the gym. They were more magnetic in terms of their personality. They were able to attract women, attract better relationships, and all these things. Even on the spiritual side, they were able to sort of awaken to the truth of themselves in a much deeper way. Had maybe even had a Kundalini awakening, or these sorts of things, which are in a sense very real, but just listening to the words of others or reading the words of others is not enough. And I think that's really a big driver for this video, is I'm speaking from my felt experience with this, and want to just encourage people that if you have that inkling that semen retention might be for you, that this might be a viable way to sort of get at the root of some of your, you could say your vices or your addictions, then you gotta go for it. Do your best. Aim, set short-term goals. All the things. A week. Try to get 2 weeks. Feel the effects. Do your best to be mindful of how things are going, and don't let your mind beat you up if you do end up getting a really strong urge and relapsing, so to speak, falling a little bit down the mountain or slipping up, because that shit happens. And it still happens to me even after doing this for upwards of 4 years now. So it's an ongoing process, and I can tell you that you could say the mental and the emotional and the physical gains that you get are never entirely lost, even when you relapse. Yeah, it can kind of suck and you can seem to be sliding backwards, but that at the same time is the catalyst to propel you forwards even further. So I just wanted to share this because this is so powerful. And I think that if more people at least became aware of this and started experimenting with it, we would basically have a population with, I don't want to sound like a super grandiose, idealistic person, but it seems clear. We'd have a population with people with clearer heads, more energy, more happiness, all these things that are like virtues that we want. So if you feel an inkling to try NoFap, to try semen retention, stick with it. Seek out people who have walked the path for a while and can share words of wisdom with you. I know I have. I've had countless mentor figures in this area who I've drawn inspiration from. So you've got to trust yourself. It's a bit paradoxical. You've got to trust yourself and your own experience first, but also stand on the shoulders of giants, so to speak, and seek a bit of wisdom from others and camaraderie. So if this resonates with you, cheers, and I wish you the best on this journey. It's an awesome one, but a tough one, but an awesome one.